Welcome to the Prime Real Estate Network channel on YouTube. I'm your host, Mr. Prime Real Estate, Ric Davis.
And I'm your host, the Texas Real Estate King, Larry W. Brooks.
Every week, the King and I will provide you exclusive access to our network of lenders, investors, and real estate professionals from both the commercial and residential real estate sectors.
Now, are you millionaire minded? Or maybe you're a millionaire in the making. Make sure that you subscribe so you can get connected to the network. And always remember, the Prime Real Estate Network, where millionaires are in the making.
Create wealth for generations.
What's up, Prime Real Estate Network listeners? It's your man, Larry W. Brooks, a.k.a. the Texas Real Estate King. Hey, when you get a moment, go ahead and go over to shoplwb.com. You can see the Pure Hustle merchandise that we had over there, some of our newer items that we have in stock, and of course, I got all the books that I've authored. I'd love for your support. You have a great day.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Prime Real Estate Network podcast. I'm your host, Ric Davis. If you don't follow me on social media, I invite you to do so at Prime Real Estate Ric. If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in residential or commercial real estate anywhere in the great state of Texas, but especially here in the lovely city of Houston, you can reach me directly on Instagram at Prime Real Estate Ric. As always, it's an honor and pleasure to be here with you this week on the show, and we have a really exciting show planned for you all. I want to give a huge shout out to everybody that's watching us live on YouTube and Facebook. Get involved in today's show. You can leave myself, this week's guest, or the Texas Real Estate King a relevant real estate question in the comment section, and we may very well be able to get your question answered on today's show. I want to take a little time now to introduce my co-host. He is not only a highly successful real estate broker, he's a multi-time author, serial entrepreneur, the proud proprietor of the Pure Hustle clothing brand. Busy as always. I want to thank him for carving some time out to sit in with us. And I'd like to introduce the Texas Real Estate King, Mr. Larry W. Brooks. How are you?
What's up, Rick? I'm doing amazing, man. No complaints at all. Another beautiful day with the podcast here in Houston, Texas. And listen, just like we like to tell everybody all week, please feel free to like, subscribe, share. Let's see if we can get this video to 1,000 people, 1,000 likes. Let's go.
All right. You know how we start off the show every week. For those who check us out every week, they know we are in the depth of graduation season. We got so much going on, man, as far as celebrating those youth in the community that's doing great things. So what's been going on this week in the world of the Texas Real Estate King, man? Just catch us up as far as everything that's going on outside of real estate.
Yeah, man. Well, listen, I had the honor and the pleasure to watch my young 19-year-old son graduate this past week on Thursday. Wait a minute, today is Thursday, so it was Tuesday. So on Tuesday, they actually walked across the stage, and you know, what can I say, man? It was an honor and a pleasure. It was exciting and hot all at the same time. You know, sometimes here in Texas, we go out our way to do things outdoors just to enjoy the environment. And I tell you, on Tuesday, it was at least 96 degrees out there. And
okay, so now you got to take us there, Mr. Brooks. You got to take us there. So from what you described, and where was the graduation hosted? It was an outdoor graduation from what you described.
Outdoor graduation at Freedom Field over in Manville, Texas, Iowa, Texas, out that way. So good environment, though, for the most part. It was just hot. And, it was just... You know, it's one of those things you buy into because it's bigger than you, right? It's right. About the movement of watching the kids graduate and thinking, you know, what their next movement, what their next steps are going to be and how they're going to accomplish those things. So, you know, it's always fun.
All right. So did you have your air horn? Did you have your balloons, man? Did you have your noise makers or they didn't got civilized in 2025 at these graduations?
It's funny. It was probably only about five. I probably counted only like 5 horns, right? Like not as much. No one did anything foolish because everyone, you know, at this particular school, everyone tries to be mature enough to know that they're going to the next level. So you don't want that to follow you to the next level. But of course, I did my yells. You know, I had my big L, and you know, because of who he was at the school, you know, the student body was yelling. The other parents that know of him because of his accomplishments, his records and stuff while he was at the school, you know, they pushed him up. So it was a good. You would swear we'd have brought half the audience the way that they showed love. So I appreciate it.
Nah, man, once again, man, congratulations to LB3, man. I want to give a huge shout out to all the parents at Manville High School for being on their best behavior.
Yeah.
So from what Mr. Brooks said, that there will be no viral clips from the graduation. So congratulations to all of you all for not going viral. So look, man, I'm really excited about today's show. You know, we pride ourselves on providing the gems necessary to create generational wealth.
Yes, sir.
And today's show, we're going to be interviewing someone who is an expert at creating that generational wealth through real estate development. So, Larry, could you share with our audience a little bit about how you was introduced to this week's guest and how you were able to gain her commitment on the show this week?
Yeah, well, it was actually the awesome step came from one of the things that we always like. When we bring people onto the show and our alumni, we ask our alumni, who is someone that they think would that the platform would benefit from having on. And so this week's guest came from Miss Andy Tebow, which is a past alumni as well as a past host on the show, and really just kind of helps build up the Prime Real Estate Network platform. She suggested today's guest. I had an opportunity to follow and just get excited about the things that she has going on in her career, and as she's helping assist other people in their careers. Look, we got it here today. I'm excited. And again, shout out to Miss Tebow for putting us in front of another future amazing alumni from the Prime Real Estate Network.
Absolutely, man. I want to thank her in advance as well. And without any further ado, I'd like to introduce this week's guest. This week's guest is one of the foremost real estate development experts in the city of Atlanta. She has experience in developing restaurants, home healthcare business, and commercial real estate. I want to thank her so much for sitting in on the Prime Real Estate Network Live. And I'd like to introduce to our audience, Miss Sierra Payne. Thank you so much.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Thank you so much, Ms. Payne. I will appreciate you for sitting in with us, man. Larry and I were so excited when you were able to commit some time to sitting in with us. So for the members of our audience that's being introduced to you for the first time, could you talk a little bit about yourself, your organization, and your real estate development background?
Yeah, so I am Sierra Payne. I am a mommy of three. I'm originally from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, but I moved to Atlanta, Georgia 4 years ago. So my main background is home health care. I've been a home health care owner this year in July 1st to make 10 years. I've been owning and operating my home health care company in Wisconsin, still operating in Wisconsin. So that was my start. Once I got into home health care, it was like, it's time to invest. So I got into real estate, started doing fix and flips, buying homes, just all things real estate. Fast forward a couple of years, I was like, okay, I want to kind of get into development or started redeveloping. And then I was like, okay, my ultimate goal is to actually be official developer. But back paddle a little bit. Before doing that, I started doing like events. That's where I met Andy. Me and Andy actually went on tour, just teaching entrepreneurs how to build businesses, start businesses, giving away scholarships. I mean, just did it all. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I don't think it's nothing on my background that I haven't done. Succeeded, failed, got it back, lost it, and did it all over again. So my background is extensive. And then restaurant, just 3 years ago is when I opened CEO or ATL, bought the commercial property 5 years ago, and it just goes on from there.
I want to thank you so much, Sierra, for being so transparent. And I have to ask this question for the members of our audience that are parents like Larry and myself. What are the ages of your children? And have they been along on this entrepreneurial journey for the entire ride? Or were you a business owner before you had your children?
So my son is 18 years old. So I'm 36. So I had him in high school. So I was a teen mom. So he's been along the journey. So obviously before I even started entrepreneurship, but he was my push to say, listen, we need more. I need to be able to provide more. They already counting teen moms out. I can't become a statistic. So I'm going to show them that it can be done. Like we can be successful and have all these businesses. So he was around the whole journey. I waited 10 years, and then I had my two other daughters who are 7 and 4. So they was around for that second chapter of my entrepreneur journey. But again, being a mother didn't stop me. It just kept fueling me and putting that battery in my back to keep going.
Oh, that's right.
No, I thank you so much because there's so many business owners and entrepreneurs that are right there on the line, that are recently licensed in real estate, that may have recently finished a class, but haven't quite made that commitment to totally dive in and totally make their entire life about generating wealth for their family and creating businesses that's going to last a lifetime and be able to pass down. We mentioned offline that you had built one of your restaurant businesses up and it was acquired from you by a larger entity. Could you just give our audience a little bit of the step-by-step process, some of the blood, sweat, and tears that went into starting a company, building a brand, and making it so profitable and so attractive that an outside entity would want to come buy your creation, for lack of a better term, and help you to be able to have that type of successful exit strategy?
Yeah, so I bought my commercial property 4 years ago. So before I moved to Georgia, I had a plan. I'm like, I need to buy me a home. I ended up building one. Then I was like, I need to get my footprint. What am I gonna do when I'm here? And I'm like, at first it was leasing, and then everyone was like, well, just buy. You can buy. And I'm like, buy? I can't buy a commercial property. How you do that? Being a Black young woman, like, no, I don't think I qualify for something like that. So that's what I love Atlanta. Like, here you can do anything. Everything is on the table, and they're gonna help you do those things. So having people who help, again, I come from Wisconsin. We have older homes. We don't build our homes. We don't have new homes like that. That's not an option for us. So coming here, my homegirl, who's the real estate agent, she was like, no, you're gonna build a home. You can build a home. You're gonna go see this home, put down $5,000, and next thing you know, I was building a home. So then anyway, that led me to, okay, I want to open up a business. My whole thing was opening up a co-working space. I wanted a co-working space for entrepreneurs where I can continue my events to teach people how to start business. I'm a philanthropist in that area of just teaching people how to, get to that level. So I wanted a co-working space, and we were looking at buildings, and then the realtor was like, no, you can buy. And I'm like, no, I can't buy. So they was like, no, we're going to show you. We're going to connect you with the right resources. And lenders that will help you qualify to buy a building. And I ended up buying a 10,000 square feet commercial property in Atlanta, by the Battery, by the Braves Stadium, in a very popular area, and was one of the only Black-owned young women that was on that little area, only Black-owned woman owner. So did that. And then, so anyway, that fast forward to the restaurant question. I didn't have growing up, I wasn't the person that said I wanted to open up a restaurant, never envisioned it. It was not on my list. But when I wanted to open a co-working space, I wanted to put a cafe. Well, in Georgia, they said, even if you sell sandwiches, chips, they don't care. If anything goes down the sink and has any type of grease, you have to put a grease trap. So I'm like, okay, well, how much is a grease trap? Because I don't want to open a co-working space without food. They said, well, the grease trap is $30,000. And I'm like, $30,000. I'm like, okay, well, if I put $30,000 in this building, can it be a full service restaurant? Can I open up a Ruth's Chris? And I was just joking. And it was like, no, yeah, you can. If it's a full service restaurant with a full kitchen, if you sell it or you lease it out, it can be any restaurant. And I wanted that co-working cafe so bad. I was like, okay, I'm gonna put the grease trap. So when I put the grease trap in there, it led to me opening up. I'm like, oh wait, can I sell liquor now? And they was like, yeah, you can sell liquor. So me right.
Let's keep on going. Let's see how we can grow this income. Now you don't know.
And I'm like, listen, the crazy entrepreneur I am, nothing is off limits. I'm a big risk taker, and I'm like, no risk, no reward. So I end up doing that, put the grease trap, got the liquor license, and it turned into a full service restaurant, which was CRATL, inside of an office building.
Wow. Inside of an office building. That's major. To go from the vision of a cafe to like, listen, let's just run it all the way, especially adding that liquor license to it. Listen, that boy.
Yes.
Now, one of the cool things is that there may be members of our audience that are thinking, CRATL, I know that. Could you just share with our audience how the success of the restaurant has spawned your offshoot of CR cocktails and how you've made that available to the entire public?
Yes. So after 2 years, I will talk about some of the struggles I faced because right, it's not all glistening gold.
Right.
I feel like me personally, buying a 10,000 square foot commercial property with over 30 offices. I mean, it was a massive big building, right? For someone young, never owned a commercial property. It was a lot of struggles I struggled with there. Just talking about not thinking about taxes, right? The property taxes on that type of square footage building was like 30 to 40,000. The utilities, if nothing is operating in the building, just to keep the lights on, it was almost like 10,000 a month. Landscaping, you got I'm talking about the whole expenses to operate that type of property. I didn't think that through, and I just want to be very transparent about that. And I was just like, whoa. So on top of that, now I'm the owner of the property. I'm the owner of the restaurant. And I feel like y'all, we already know owning a restaurant is already one big massive thing with its own expenses to carry. Then putting that inside of a property that you own, I probably wouldn't have did that too on that scale, right? You can get a 1,200 square foot building and open a restaurant, and it's just a restaurant. I think that's doable. But putting it inside of that type of square footage and not really looking at the financials as a whole, because you got to think, I don't know about Houston, but in Georgia, I could probably say 70% of all the restaurant owners have partners. Everybody have 2 to 3 partners because it take that type of financial backing to sustain or to survive. I had no partners in none of my business I own in 10 years, right? And I don't want to put that out there like that's a good thing, because now me moving forward, everything I do is in partnership. The power is in partnership.
Yeah.
In real
So
estate,
to answer that question, yeah, they do. A lot of the ones in Houston are partnerships, really, really big partnerships too. You may see one face and then it be levels of 5 to 6 other people that have went in on it. And,
yes.
And to just give sight to what you're saying, yes, partnerships are definitely important, especially with a venture of 10,000 square feet. I can only imagine the things that you've just learned and the challenges and the trials. Like you could literally teach a book or open like everything when it comes to something that large and massive. Being an individual doing it by yourself, that's wild.
Yeah, it's very wild. And I'm leaving out the fact that I redeveloped the whole building, right? It was an old office space, that building that was dated since probably like the 1990. I think the last renovations they had. When I tell you, I gutted the whole restaurant out, from the floors to the chandelier to the walls, put $100,000 kitchen inside, gold chandeliers. I mean, I went all in because it was my baby, right? I was so excited. It was like a passion project. So I redeveloped the whole space. And that was another thing. So when it comes to permitting, licensing, anything, any steps of life from in the commercial space and into a restaurant space, I have done it. But I don't regret it, because what I've learned, you can't go to school. School can't teach me this. No one else can teach me that, because I was in the field by myself, blood, sweat, and tears, crying every night, trying to get permits passed, trying to architectural plans, like everything in that whole realm of the real estate. I feel like I experienced, and now nobody can take that from me, like you said. So I think that's the biggest part of it all. Like I can literally teach a book, teach a class, or help anybody in that space when it comes to opening up a restaurant in a commercial property. And then just to piggyback off the story. So yes, with that, I ended up coming to the conclusion that I was going to sell the property. So I had people reaching out, and it was like, well, are you selling? Are you selling? And I didn't want to sell it because I bought this building with the hopes in mind that I was going to pass it down to my kids. This is my baby in the back. So I got it plaqued in the frame, but I wanted to pass this down to my children. I didn't want to sell it, but in commercial, I had my real estate partners was like, listen, in commercial, you can't get attached. You got to buy, build, sell, buy, build, sell. This is not your baby. You got to get that mindset out. But because this is the goal that I didn't think about. And they was like, no, you want to position yourself, get something, hold it for 5 years, because look at the market now. It becomes sellable. So I'm like, well, what about my brand? I worked so hard to build this creative cocktail brand and everything. And it was like, well, you can position in a way where you keep your brand, but just sell, the restaurant inside and sell the building. And that's what I did. So when I sold that, I end up converting myself over to Sea York Cocktails, which is now going to be a full service cocktail line. We do catering, we do workshops, we do mixology, we do a lot of corporate events. Like I just did Delta yesterday. I just made cocktails for the top 60 Delta employees at their world headquarters. So it's just.
We're not gonna breeze over that. That is a big deal. Congratulations on that. If we know the head of Delta is in Atlanta, and for you to be able to be in front of the top 60, stop playing. That is definitely a big thing. Congratulations on that. Wow.
And I want to make sure that we spotlight the fact that throughout all your success, you still made time to give back and share with that next generation of business owners and entrepreneurs and other young moms who look at someone like yourself as an example. So could you talk a little bit about the tour you were on, the workshops that you had, and how might people be able to tap in with you and gain the education and that experience as far as being part of your tribe?
Yeah, so I started an organization called the Mommypreneur Company maybe 2 years after I opened up my home healthcare company. So that was about 8 years ago. So in my prayer when I was younger, I kind of always knew I was going to be an entrepreneur. And I used to pray, especially when I had my young son and I was in poverty and struggling. I used to just pray to God, like, God, if you give me the opportunity, to put me and my son in a better position, I promise I'll give back. I'll do the work. I'll do whatever needs to be done. So God listened to me, and I really believe that. I manifested my whole life, and it was my duty to do exactly what I told God I was going to do. So that first offset business after I started my home health care, I opened a Mommypreneur Company, which was an organization helping moms how to build businesses, how to start businesses. We even did mommycations where I took them different places across the world where we did workshops and training. But then I also met Andy Tebow. That's where I met Andy on just Instagram. And she was like, hey, how can I be a part? And Andy was doing good work in the community. The same thing. We just matched, we aligned, and we was like, let's go on tour. Let's go. So we did. We went to Houston. We did workshops there, gave scholarships to women. We went to Atlanta. We just was going all over teaching and helping women. And that was our give back, just trying to mentor and pour. So for years before COVID, I felt like I just spent a lot of my years just pouring, giving back. And I'm that pusher girl. I'm the one that's going to push you. You got to do it. Chase your dreams, chase your goal, pour. So that's always been me and my give back. So yeah, that's what I was doing.
No, I appreciate it, man, because one of the great things, and I think we try to spotlight it a lot, but one of Larry's thing that's foundational part of his businesses is the books and the education and the giving back and the nonprofit. So seeing someone like yourself that's of that same mental alignment and see the same importance of giving back is something that we want to make sure we highlight for the members of our audience. One of the cool things about interviewing someone like yourself, Ms. Payne, is that Larry and I get to get a little insight as far as your background. So when you think back as far as your upbringing as a young lady, were there any members of your family that were business owners, entrepreneurs that you can think back to may have served as an example, or someone that might have been a motivator for you from that standpoint?
Not one. I hate to say it, not one. I come from a family of no entrepreneurs, nobody really having businesses, building businesses that I could look up to. The person that was my role model was Oprah. I think every little girl role model, it was like, I want to be like Oprah. How can I be like Oprah? Give back, pour, do this and that. So I didn't have no one in my family or even in my environment that I grew up in, and coming from where I come from, there was no people that looked like me or looked like anything that I wanted to be like. So that was my goal, to make sure I looked like the opposite of what I saw in my area. And that's why, when they say you are a product of your environment, sometimes that's not true. You have to create your own story. I remember, like I said, at 14, this is building. I saw this in my dream at 14. I said, I'm going to build an empire. I didn't know what that was. I said, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I didn't know what that was. I said, I'm going to be a business owner. I didn't know what that was. But what I realized looking back at my childhood, I was doing all those things. Like my first job at 13, I used to braid the guys' hair in the neighborhood and make $20. Then I used to sell cupcakes and icy cups out my window to make 25 cents, 50 cents just to go to the store. Yeah.
It's funny because my grandmother was a cool cup lady, so when I hear icy cups, I know exactly what you're speaking of.
Yeah. So, and then again, I mean, it's just, this is transparency here. I come from a lot of drug dealers. The drug dealers in my neighborhood was the people that people looked up to. They had the cars, they had the houses, they had all those things that we wanted. So we seen a lot of hustling and gambling. So we was kids, like trying to just figure out how to make money. We would gamble, play cans, like play games, play cards. We would do just anything for money. So it was like that hustling, I guess, that I seen too, that kind of like fueled into that entrepreneurship. But that was really about it when that's all I saw growing up.
I thank you so much for being so candid as far as some of the examples that you saw at such a young, informative age, because Larry and I, we talked during first-time home buyer presentations, or when we're talking to real estate students about how real estate has changed so many people's lives, has empowered so many people to not just take care of themselves, but generations of their family. And I think you're a testament to what education and perseverance in the real estate space can provide as far as successes. So I want to ask, for the members of our audience who didn't get a chance to meet with you and Miss Andy on your first tour, will you be on the road again? When will be the next opportunity people have to meet, greet, and interact with you, Miss Payne?
Yeah, so I haven't talked to Andy yet, but yes, I'm definitely interested in us going back on tour and doing kind of what we did, business showers. It was the name of our tour. So it was called business showers because we have people, everybody was starting a business, but it was like people wasn't celebrating. We always celebrate baby showers, but what about people who started in business? So that was our goal, was to do business showers. But I also did just get invited on a tour with It's Her Foundation. They're going to 6 different cities. The first stop we're doing Nashville, August 10th. Then we're going to New York in October. I do have a retreat here in Atlanta in September. October, November, Indiana. I mean, it just go on. So for the next 6 months, I'm in different cities on tour, speaking on panels, doing the same thing, dropping gems, giving back, doing whatever I can to help. So if any of you ladies in those cities, or just follow my social media page and look at the cities, and if you guys are in those towns, I would love to meet, greet, help, mentor, support, whatever I can to kind of give back, because now for the last 5 years since I own my property, I realized I have been so consumed with the commercial property, the restaurant, that I haven't had time to get back to doing what I love. And now that weight is lifted and I have this free time, I'm back in the field with being on panels, podcasts. I got a couple people reaching out. It's just endless that's just happening right now. And I'm thankful that God is just, put me back in my mission and my purpose of what I can do without getting paid, because I'm really passionate about it.
And what is your social media handles and things like that, ways that people can find you and maybe contact you and maybe invite you on to more stages, more podcasts? How can they contact you?
Yeah, so my Instagram page is CC_the developer. So that's my main person. That's my personal page. I do have a couple business pages. The restaurant page is Seor Cocktails. And then I have the Mommypreneur Company, also all on Instagram.
And we'll leave those details in the links below as well.
I want to thank you so much, Ms. Payne, because your energy is infectious. There's going to be so many members of our audience that hear this interview, and either they can relate to where you used to be, or they can aspire to be where you are now. Either way, you're such a great example for that next generations of go-getters, real estate hustlers, developers, real estate pros, and the like. So I want to thank you so much. If you ever would like to sit in with Larry and myself again on the show, you always have a seat with us. Please keep us up to date as far as everything you have going on as far as you, your business, and your movement, because we want every member of our audience to stay tapped in and be able to join the Sierra Payne train and take that to success and wherever else it may lead us, man, because you are definitely a shining example of what can be possible as far as creating generational wealth.
Thank y'all so much for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity again. And thank you, Andy, as well.
Thank you so much, Queen, man. It's been an honor and a pleasure, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thank y'all.
Absolutely. And there it is, Mr. Brooks, man. Another great episode with another fine business leader, man. What were some of the things that you took from that interview that, as an entrepreneur, that you would just add to your tool belt or your book of knowledge?
I love the idea that what she said is that you don't always have to see something in order to be able to create it, become a visionary behind it, right? And that's important because a large amount of what she described as her background or her growing up was some of the same things that I saw as a child growing up as well. And again, much like herself, we've been able to kind of change what our dynamics look like and have been able to increase our value and increase the people around us value in so many different ways. So I thought that was a gem within itself. And there's so many things that you can just take away from that. And I employ that our audience and the people that get an opportunity to share and touch this video, you know, really reach out, really be a part of the tour that's going on, and really be able to systematically learn from someone so that you don't, like, again, we don't always see what we desire when we're children growing up. We just have an ability to want to manifest it more, especially in times that we're living in now. You know, you got to get back to those times of manifesting and really feeling something inside of yourself and having it kind of blossom out, man. So that's one of the biggest things that I took away from it. How about yourself?
No, that was a great message, man. I concur totally. But one of the things that's so powerful about her interview is how her children have been along for the entire ride. Mm-hmm. So she's been an entrepreneur for more than 15 years. She's had children. So from that standpoint, it's about motivation. It's about want to, and it's about wherewithal. That's why I hope everyone in our audience can tap in and gain education, but also be inspired. Yeah. I hope they're inspired by professionals like Ms. Payne. I hope they're inspired by the Texas Real Estate King, because some of the things that are going on in the real estate space right now are so empowering, are so on the cutting edge, that I think if you're on the sideline and you're not involved, you don't understand the transformation that's going on in the industry. So it was a great interview, man. I'm definitely energized by speaking with Ms. Payne. Hope we get a chance to speak to her in the future. Yeah. But, you know, we at the part of the show, Mr. Brooks, where we get a Texas Real Estate King an opportunity to enlighten everybody in the audience, let them know what's going on this weekend if they want to meet, greet, and interact with you. So what you got going on this weekend, sir?
Well, man, I think that this weekend is Memorial Day weekend, or the celebration of Memorial Day weekend, or maybe that's next week. I don't know. But I'll be in
Monday is the holiday, but no, it's a long weekend.
Monday is the holiday. Okay, so yeah. I'll be in the city, man. Just low key in the city, moving around. That's it, man. Nothing exciting about what I got going on.
Oh, well, once again, man, we want to thank everyone in the audience. We want to thank Miss Sierra Payne. We want to thank everybody at Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm. We want to thank super producer Jay Joseph for bringing this show to the live stream again this week. On behalf of myself, Ric Davis, and the Texas Real Estate King, Mr. Larry W. Brooks, we hope everyone in the audience can please, until next Thursday at this same time, be safe and be blessed.
Be blessed.